Council on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024 to order. I'll invite everyone to stand. The mayor's going to lead us in an invocation pledge.
Please bow with me. Lord, thank you once again for the city that we live in. We thank you for all you have provided us over the last season that we had, and the Lord has risen. We ask that you watch over council tonight in making sound and right decisions. Although there's not a lot on the agenda, we still want good decisions.
Yes.
We ask that you watch over our staff as they keep the city running as it is, and our citizens that we're so thankful that they're here. We ask that all we do in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Haley, can you call the roll, please?
Mayor Shute.
Here.
Bishop.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Mendel.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Carlisle.
All right. If anyone has any business from the audience that is not on the agenda, you could fill out one of these forms here on the front table and hand it in to Clerk Haley, and we'll get to you at the opportune time. Mayor's report.
Just a few things. The small business organization, or Sebring Business Organization, did a good job last Friday. Had a pretty good event that they pulled together, so thanks to Robert and Chris and everybody else that put that thing together. This weekend we have the Soda Fest, so y'all come out for the week that, and then in 2 weeks we have Sippin' on the Circle, another fundraiser put on by the Art League and Rotary. So that's about all I have.
Okay. All right. Other council members? Ms. Mendel?
Yes, good evening to everyone. Stephen Kramer isn't here today, this evening, but he was so wonderful. Sunrise service on the Circle. Our church had some difficulties, technical difficulties, and at 6 a.m. we got him out of bed, and he came down and fixed them for us, and we're so grateful. We had a very successful and beautiful sunrise service, so that was very awesome. And then last week I went out with Mr. Fred Tucker, our new director of the municipal golf course, went out and toured the golf course, which I'm not a golfer and I'd never been out there before, and it was just lovely, so beautiful. And it was so wonderful to hear all his ideas for fixing the municipal golf course up, and to see his vision for an elite golf course, and hear of his experience and his knowledge in making this happen. So very grateful to have him on the team, and I look forward to hearing from him tonight. And that was a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
No report.
Yeah, I got one thing. Just wanted to kind of prep you guys and bring it before you. My Rotary Club is approaching its 100th year anniversary, and one of the things that they wanted to do as part of that was a big project. The first project Rotary ever did was public restrooms in Chicago downtown, and so that was kind of the idea of the club, was to do public restrooms in the Sebring downtown. Originally, we were looking at the CRA building that the city owns, but the mayor pointed us to a different site that is on North Commerce, kind of behind the Circle Theater. It's a little tiny, oddly shaped parking lot right now for a new build. So we have budgeted a floor of $50,000 from Rotary. CRA has said that they would be willing to maybe match that or possibly more. That would probably be enough for the existing building at the CRA, but for a new build it would be a little bit more. So I want to just talk to you guys about it to see if there would be interest in the city funding any part of that. We have a very rough idea of a plan, kind of modeled after some bathrooms that are at Fireman's Field. We'd be extending those a little bit, so there might be up to 5 stalls for men, 5 stalls for women. Because this is something that we're going to, our club is going to put our name on it. It's not going to be a, cinder block, utilitarian looking structure. The idea is to make it look really nice. High quality materials, but still, resilient. Because of course, if we build this thing, the Rotary Club is not maintaining it. It would belong to the city at that point. So I just wanted to kind of bring it up to let you guys know what we were hoping to do. after we get some real plans and a cost estimate, I think someone from the club would come present it and go over it in more details and specifics. But I wanted to put it in your head before we get to budget time. And we would probably be talking about starting it this year. I would say maybe by the fall, starting construction. And hopefully, I think we could probably be done by spring of this coming year.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you all for doing that, because we certainly have a need for that.
There's a desperate need for it.
Yeah, there really is, and as we progress and get to be larger and have more activities downtown, I know a lot of times the activities have to bring in their porta potties or whatever, and so that sure would be nice to have, and I would hope that our city would be able to keep it safe from vandalism. That's been an issue down at the waterfront. Of course, this would be more in the downtown area.
Right.
But thank you all for doing that. We certainly need it.
Well, you still got to say yes when we, come formally. But yeah, we like the idea, and I think it'll be a great thing for the downtown.
Yes.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea.
Sounds great.
Cool. All right.
It's needed downtown, so.
Yep.
All right. So probably Carl Cool is going to draw up some prints, and then we're going to work on a cost estimate, and we'll bring something to council when we have that put together.
And that would be behind the Circle Theater, you said?
Yep,
There's a
yep.
little odd
It's kind of
shape.
a combination of behind the, what's the name of the park?
Palladi Park.
Palladi Park and Circle Theater. It goes over to North Commerce.
Like
That'd
right.
be a real accessible
Yes.
location.
Yep. It's
Right.
visible
Yeah,
from the
perfect.
circle, and like half a block off
And
the circle.
walking. When you've got a desperate youngster, you need a bathroom.
Right.
So, yeah. Or a desperate oldster.
All right.
Good idea.
Very good idea. If there's nothing else, we'll go on to the consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? I will ask that you remove item C. We're going to push that to a later date.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, excluding item C.
I second it.
Ms. Haley?
Haywood,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. All right. No old business. Moving on to new business. We have Mr. Fred Tucker coming to tell us about some improvements that he wants to make to the golf course. I think we talked about giving him 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, you might.
That is Fred
You
Tucker.
might want to cut. Yeah, you might want to cut me to 3. Fred Tucker, Sebring Golf Club. When y'all hired me 3 months ago, one of the things you wanted me to do is bring more golf to Sebring Golf Club, more hotel play, tournaments. So over the last 3 months, I've studied real hard on the golf course, and the only way that we can do that is to do some renovations on the golf course. The golf greens are around 15 years old. They've been declining over the last 4 years. Some of that's just Mother Nature. This winter in golf was the worst winter that we've had in golf in over 31 years. A lot of golf courses are rebuilding this summer because of the winter we just had. But there's been other, issues. There's a insect called nematodes, and they eat the root system. And we did a test back or they did, but before I was there, they did a test back in September. It was a little bit cooler weather. Nematodes aren't as active in the cooler. But then when it started getting warmer, we did another test a couple weeks ago, and the levels came back very, very high. Some of the greens, there was a nematode called sting nematode, and that's the bad one. If you're a level 10, you can monitor it pretty good, and on a couple of our greens, we were over 200. So that means you'll never grow grass. We overseeded during the winter, so we could have play and get the income for the winter time, which we did pretty good. We averaged close to 200 rounds a day during the winter time. So on the renovation on the greens, we're going to rip up all the sod, and then we'll add some sand to it because there's really not a lot of sand in the soil right now. And then once we do that, then we're going to fumigate to kill all the nematodes, and it'll kill any other insect that's in the green, and it'll also kill all the weeds that are still in the ground. You cover that with plastic, leave it on for about 6 or 7 days. We pull it off. Once we plant the sprigs, which we're going to plant Tiff Eagle sprigs, which is what all the golf courses are putting on their greens. The Golf Hammock just did theirs. Deer Run's doing theirs this summer. River Greens did theirs. Spring Lake just did theirs with the Tiff Eagle. Once we plant the grass, in 8 weeks we can putt on it. So it's a pretty fast process, but we have to get it done before it starts getting cooler. So if we do it, May, June, we'll be ready for the winter season. And we expect to get anywhere from 250 to 260 rounds a day during the wintertime once we do this. And doing that, so what we do is we raise our rate for the greens fees. Right now we're 35 in the morning, 25 in the afternoon. We'll raise it $10, so we'll be 45 in the morning and 35 in the afternoon. We had a little over 24,000 golfers in a year period of time. If we keep the same golfers, we don't increase our golf play, we'll make almost enough money the first year to cover the renovation cost. We expect to have more golfers. We want to be up in that 30 to 35,000 range because 24,000 is quite low. But everyone went to Golf Hammock and the Country Club and all those courses because of the conditions of the greens that we have now. So we already have groups coming back, and we had meetings yesterday with a couple groups that are going to come back as soon as we're done, which will increase the revenue there. Then we also have issues with the tee boxes. All the tee boxes are very unlevel. If you put your tee, if you're going to tee your ball up, the ball is either below your feet or above your feet. There's no flat surface anymore, and that's just over years of play on it. So the budget money that I need is to flatten all the tee boxes, and then on number 12 fairway, it's and I had pretty much had every one of y'all out there. It's very bumpy, and all the water sets in the holes, and it's not draining over to the creek on the left side of 12. So we're going to level that fairway out and cut swells to move the water off the fairway over into the creek to go out to Little Lake Jackson. And then we're going to decorate it with some pine straw and make it look real nice. And so we're looking right at the $260,000 mark, which I believe we can pay for fairly quick. And that's about it. And like I say, I appreciate everybody that did come out and ride around on the golf course, and I appreciate that because it's a lot easier than me just coming up here and telling you I want $260,000 and you hadn't seen anything. That's why I wanted y'all to come out and explain it to you. Anybody got any questions?
Does that include cleaning those ditches into the bay head?
No, sir. That's totally separate. That's going to be a different thing there. This is just strictly the golf course itself, not the ditches.
Well, I don't know how to get that water off that side of the course.
What's your question?
To get the water to drain better over there?
Yeah, it's called a turf planer, and it's gonna run down the fairway, and they're gonna tilt it just a little bit, and then cut swells in, so when it's raining on 12, it lets it slide over to the creek. And then we do have to clean the ditches up by the
That's what I'm
by Lakeview, yeah. And we're waiting on quotes to come in on that right now. And if we don't get them pretty soon, then we'll just do it ourselves. So we have backhoe, we just need to clean the debris out to let that water flow. And then we have the, on 9, the ditch going down by the fire station, that needs to be cleaned out. And then on the other side of 27 where the culverts come out, there's some trees right there that are holding the water up from it moving. So
Fred, so Would those green fees still make us competitive or similarly priced to other golf courses?
Yes, sir. Right now, Golf Hammock and the Country Club, they were running right at $45 to $50, depending on, they start a little bit lower than at the prime time, they'll go up to like in the 50 range. Sun and Lakes was in the 60s. I think Pinecrest was, I think they were $41, but then we're the only one, if I tell you it's $35, that's tax included. All the other golf courses, if they say 50, it's plus tax.
Okay.
So we'll be cheaper than everybody else.
Okay, so
And-
you don't think we'll lose golfers because of the green fee increase?
No, we've lost all the golfers we can lose.
Okay,
So-
all right,
Yeah.
all right.
A couple of questions. How, of the 260, how much is for the greens and how much would be for the leveling? Do you have
So
that
the
breakdown?
leveling is $39,900. And that's for all the tees and 12 fairway.
Okay,
Um,
so the vast majority is for.
Yeah, so then I think 5,700 will be for some rental equipment we need to get, a couple tractors and sod cutters, things like that. Another 4,800 is for pine straw. That's going, and what the pine straw is going to do, if you've ever played golf at a real nice golf course, it's always, they don't do mulch, they do pine straw. And the reason why, one, it's beautiful, and the other is it lays down on the ground, and if it rains 5 inches, it won't float. It stays in place. And then it also helps eliminate a lot of weeds. Weeds don't grow up through pine straw. So there are a lot of benefits to the pine straw, and it's going to give that, North Georgia, Carolina look to the golf course. And then we'll have, I worked a deal with a grower that we're going to get some flowers and stuff to put around the golf course and dress it up and make it look real pretty. But we got, you're doing all the renovations in downtown and making everything beautiful. And Harder Hall, eventually, within the next few years, I'm sure they're going to be open. And we don't want people to stay at Harder Hall and look across the street and see our golf course and go down to Golf Hammock or the Country Club. We want them to look out of their window at the hotel and say, what a beautiful golf course. Let's go over there and play. And we're that close to being a fantastic golf course. And in the thing, it does say that we're going to do a lot of in-house labor. I've done over 50 renovations myself growing up, so I'm very experienced in the renovation process. And one of the reasons why I want us to do a lot of the labor is I want my workers to have pride in the golf course. And if I have them out there sweating, building these greens, they're going to have pride when they see somebody up there make a scuff on the green. It's going to mean something to them that they put in a lot of work. And we're saving about $60,000 by us doing the work. So.
Now, are you going to continue operating while the construction is going on?
Yeah, I would like, and I would get with Joe and get with Scott, I would like once we know we got some of the things we have to bid out, so once we get all that settled, I would really love to close maybe 2 weeks at the most, just because we're going to have, I have to put 2,300 tons of sand out on the golf course, so we're going to have 100 semis coming in dropping sand. So I'd like to have a little time that we don't have to worry about cars and people moving around, and just get some of the stuff started. And then, for instance, if y'all pass this tonight, and I know that we're going to be able to do it, we'll start cutting temporary greens tomorrow. And we're just going to start lowering them down, so we're not just scalp them the day that we want to start. We'll just start lowering them down, and that'll give us,
And what will you do about pricing with the temporary greens?
I'll get with council on that, but I'm thinking most golf courses, what they do is they charge like $15 or $18 for 18 holes, and just kind of get a little bit of play. And two, they get to see what's going on, because they won't bother us while we're working, because the temporary greens will be usually about 30 yards away from the actual green. so they won't be getting up close to us.
And what about your pro shop staff?
Pro shop, I'm gonna have some of them out there working, but I'll probably have at least one answering phones, just kind of telling people what's going on, and if there's any groups calling in, that we can set up tea times and stuff for when we do open back up. But once we put the grass down, it's 8 weeks and we're putting.
Okay.
And like I say, it's Tiff Eagle. It's the best grass that's on the market, and hopefully the Tifton Turf, hopefully they win the bid, which I think they would, but I hope they do, because they do most of the golf courses. And Tifton Turf supplied the grass for Golf Hammock, Spring Lake, River Greens, all of those golf courses. So.
All right.
Good question. I believe I remembered when I was out visiting with you that you said our municipal golf course had never made any money. It was a kind of money losing.
That's what I hear.
Well, this just seems like to think we would almost recoup this price that we're hopefully
Well,
going to pass.
We will make the money back that we spend. That's no doubt, and it'll be fairly fast that we'll make that back. And my goal is to make money, and my family tell you I don't like losing, so I'm gonna do everything I can to make money. And if I do, it's been a long time, and so I might be coming back to y'all asking for a raise.
And that might be a good thing.
You should have waited till after they approved this, Fred.
No, y'all want it to be good. It's the municipal golf course. Everybody grew up playing on the municipal. In any city you live in, it doesn't matter if it's just Sebring. And we still have Tom McClure there. He's the one that taught every kid in this town how to play golf, and he's still there. And all the pros that are in this county all learned how to play golf from him. So he's still there. So we have a lot of history at the golf course. And I don't know if some of y'all know or not know, but Harder Hall back in the 50s, they had a deal with the city golf course where they paid money for upkeep on the golf course and for their employees or their hotel guests to play golf. And that little pink building they got there was the pro shop for the golf course. That was back in the 50s. So when they get up and running, I want to have a relationship with them right off the get-go. Not going to let them give all their hotel guests free golf, but I want to have a good relationship with them.
That would be great.
So.
That would be great.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your
Fred, I mean, I think I've been out to the golf course 3 times with you. It's a big spend, but the way I look at it too is I see your vision with what you want to do with this, and you want to make it profitable. I want you to bring back the Muni, and I think a lot of this investment is not just in the golf course, but we're investing into you and into what you want to buy in and what you want to bring us to. So thank you for all the work that you're putting in. I think a lot of the work that you want to do is not just covering issues up, but it's hopefully getting to the root cause of all these issues, everything that we've talked about over the past couple months. It's a big spend, and I've been spending all day looking at numbers over the last 5 years, and it's a large amount, but if you can say that we can get there, we can make some money off of it, or at least break even, that gets me excited. So I mean, thanks for all the work that you put in.
Well, I appreciate you coming out the times that you did. My dad was a superintendent for 50 years. I'm 59. I've been in golf my whole entire life. I've seen the best golf courses in the world. I've seen the worst. And some of the top golf courses in the United States are city golf courses. Torrey Pines in California is a city golf course. They have the U.S. Open. They have a few PGA Tour events there. If you happen to watch a golf tournament this weekend, that was out in Texas, the Texas Children's Hospital tournament. That was at Moorings Park, which is a city-owned golf course. And they have a list of 30 top city golf courses in the United States, and I'd like to be on that list one day. And it's not too far away because the city of Palatka, right here nearby, is ranked number 29 in the United States for a city golf course. So I want to be up there.
Get us there.
Yeah, I think so. I got one more question. It seems like, I know that, and I had shared with you that some of the complaints I'd had about, from some of the members out there were about the roads, or what do you
Cart
call
paths?
it? Yeah, what you drive those golf carts on. But it seems like for making money, then we would be able to pour money back into making future improvements.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. There's still a lot of stuff to do to make it a fantastic place. The greens and tees are the first that need to be done, but in the future we do need to look at the cart paths, repairing areas. We have a lot of areas where trees have grown and the roots have broke the concrete, things like that. So I think we should maybe look at that and start looking at that next year, and maybe do a 2-year plan, because that can get quite expensive, because we have a lot of cart paths. So things like that. We need to do some stuff at the maintenance building. We really need to pave the lot around the maintenance building. When the guys wash the mowers off, they're driving through dirt to go back into the maintenance building, and they're just tracking dirt inside. And it should be, you clean it, it should be clean when you get inside. We do have a building there that roof was blown off during the hurricane. We need to look at doing something with that down the road. It's a chemical room, so we need to look at, either put a new roof on it or tear it down and put something else. And
Lots to do.
There's
Yeah.
lots to do.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And as soon as we get the golfers that Renee and I think that we can get, I'll be coming back to get some golf carts. 'Cause we got 65 golf carts, and I can tell you, this winter, we had enough play that we would stand outside with blowers and new scorecards, and as soon as they got off of 18, they took their clubs off the bag. We were blowing the golf carts, putting new scorecards, and loading people up to go right back out.
Wow.
Because we have 65 golf carts, and we could have used about 25 more this time, and we didn't have but a couple hundred golfers, a day. So eventually, one day, we'll have to get some carts, but we'll know that when we're.
Good plans for the future, though.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.
I move to approve Resolution 2024-07, authorizing budget amendment number 56 and improvements to the golf course as presented.
Second.
Saley?
Avery.
Yes.
Lindo.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Also, I need to thank Jamie. Jamie's been working real hard with me getting prices and stuff together and making sure we're doing the right thing with the money. So,
You're going to get with Jared on capital improvement plan too, what that looks like.
yeah. All right.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have no business from the audience. Mr. Attorney?
Nothing else tonight, sir.
Scott?
So I'd like to bring up trees around the circle, and I'm talking about the outer circle, if you will, or closest to the buildings. As you know, we've got a lot of trees that are now growing into kind of odd shapes in front of these buildings. In some cases, they're blocking signage for the buildings and/or the buildings themselves. We had a conversation with the downtown merchants about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. They were going to bring back some ideas. That's never happened. So what staff is looking for is guidance from council as to whether or not you'd like to eliminate those trees. We're coming up with ideas as to what we might put in their place. But in the interim, we could just, fill in with pavers or, some solution that allows, people not to fall into the grates and stuff like that. We may put, we might relocate our trash cans to the grate area. That's a possibility. But just, we're looking for direction to go ahead and remove those trees, kind of open it up and allow everybody to see the work that HGTV is doing on the circle. So,
What are the small businesses or the business affected by this? What is their opinion about those trees?
Rip them out.
Yeah, when
That's
it was
their
brought
opinion.
up.
I've talked to several this
In the
last
past.
few weeks, and they want them gone. They're
Want
kind of
the
a
whole
hindrance.
thing gone, not just trimmed up?
Correctly,
No,
because
they
they
want
trimmed up a
gone.
couple, but they look like a stick
witch's
with two
broom.
stickers on. I mean, it's really kind of, and
yeah,
some of
you
them
would-
are
you would
like
have
the
to
one in
come
front of
and
the soda
replace them
shops.
at some point, regardless. I
Right.
mean, even when we had a tree board, the discussion was then, you've got to replace your trees every, we'll say
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 years.
They get too
because
big.
They're going to do exactly what they're doing now.
Do you look at a different kind of tree or?
That's kind of what we've been talking about. If it's a tree, it's got to be a smaller one, I think. I think those things, when you get that size, you're going to have to tear them out again. But if you had a tree that doesn't grow that big, we've been looking at some other cities that have them, or we put, flower planters out there with topiary type trees in them, or
I
uplighting or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, my personal opinion is you eliminate the trees and you create more walk space. Because right now, anything you put there, you got to walk around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as we grow and as more and more people come to visit the downtown, they're going to be more inclined to want to, spread out on the sidewalk.
That's true. That's
And
true.
I think there's 3 of them that are already, those grates are up about, it's pushing the grates up, so
Wow.
they're a hazard right now. So those, at least those we gotta get rid of, but it's like the one in front of the soda shop is leaning out over Circle Park Drive now, so.
Yeah.
Would we remove them ourselves or hire that done?
I'm going to leave that up to Steve. I think we can, but I'll.
I'm worried about ripping everything out when they.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you've got power.
The
and-
power
of almost
water,
every
and
single one of
hopefully
them.
water in there
Yeah.
too, so.
I'll let him take a look at that and make a decision based on, whether they think they can. I'm assuming at this point you're gonna have to cut it flush and then come back in with some type of stump grinder
Mm-hmm.
and remove some form of the root ball.
Yeah.
So 2 questions. What's the plan for figuring out what goes back? Or what were you gonna do to figure that
I think we'll bring
out?
some options to you all.
Okay.
I mean, I got my own thoughts, but, and if you all have any thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
So, my thoughts is, and I don't know that each and every one of you have seen these before, but if you go to Epcot, you see the LED lighting that comes up from underneath the concrete, and it shines patterns, if you will, or there are patterns in that concrete. So theoretically, you create different patterns, and you just fill in those boxes that the trees are in with now with something like that. And as you're walking around the circle at night, you'll have an added.
Looks real
if you
pretty.
will.
Yeah.
That's just one of my thoughts. You could also do uplighting that's flat, surface flat uplighting that would light back towards the buildings or something like that. But I kind of like the idea of having walkability.
Have
What was your second question?
it was there, but it's gone now. Well, I got another one.
Okay.
Have you talked with CRA to see if they had thoughts or ideas about this? I think they were the ones who put on that meeting with the vendors
They did.
a year ago, right?
Yep.
Well, and that was so. I'm sure they would advocate some walkability, but I think at the time the CRA was looking to remove the trees as well. What they would like them replaced with, I couldn't tell you.
So the idea is that you feel like it's urgent enough, you want to just remove them now, period, and figure out what to go back later.
Correct.
Is the HGTV film crew okay with us ripping them out, or are you talking about after they're completed with their filming?
We had a little bit of conversation with them. Would you say, Mayor, they were?
I would say, we talked to Veronica, who's their design,
Mhm.
and she was a little bit, a couple of them she said, but then she started looking at it, and I think she felt like she's positive about it. you know, because they're putting greenery in front of the pillars on a lot of the buildings already, so we're not losing the greenery effect. And
She was positive about taking them out?
Yes, yeah. So and then she looked at the buildings, and you can see the buildings
See 'em better.
without the tree, which, you know, and some of them cover up balconies, some of them cover up windows, so you're kind of, you know,
Yeah.
you're restricting some of that, but if you stand on that circle and kind of look around, and so we did, and it's like, I mean, you can envision just to seeing those beautiful buildings now all the way around the circle.
And good lighting. You
Yeah.
know, I was kind of hurt when they took out the trees over there by Southside Baptist. I really didn't like that, but it looks a lot better.
And
Looks
it's
a lot better.
That was a bad hazard over there.
Yeah.
They were pushing those
Yeah.
sidewalks up into
Yeah, they
street
were.
walks, and that's kind of what's happening now with, you know, the trees got too big, and like they said, you have to replace those trees. From what I understand, I've read several different areas that if you have a tree that grows like that, you're gonna have to replace those trees every 10, 15 years, like they said, because they just outgrow themselves, especially that kind of tree.
Right,
So,
right. Well, I know a lot of the events we're having now, and even like the Christmas parade, you know, we were just maxed with people, and I didn't know that word walkability, but that's really true. We need to look into that as we expand and develop and really get beautified here.
So what
Yeah, I
do we do
unfortunately-
temporarily until we find the
Yeah, something
permanent
else.
solution?
I think it'd be a good idea.
So
To cover the
Pavers?
whole,
pavers
Well,
are
we
a
can
possibility.
initially put the garbage cans
Or
over the
you
top
could
of
put,
it
you know, if you put the garbage can over top
Yeah.
of
for now.
the hole,
yeah.
if you will, where the tree was, you could do that for right now.
You could even put the grates back down and then just put the garbage can.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Okay.
Do we have enough to do that?
We have enough
Do we have enough
garbage
garbage
cans.
cans?
I think
I feel like
we-
there's more trees
Well,
than garbage cans.
we're supposed to be acquiring some new garbage cans as well. The question is whether or not CRA is doing them or potentially HGTV, but
I think
that's a
there's enough
question.
on the circle, because there's, what do we count, 9 trees, or is that what it was? 10 trees maybe, total? Because some have 2, some have 1 tree in front of them, so.
Where are the garbage cans placed now?
They're on the sidewalk itself,
Mhm.
in the middle of the sidewalk.
In between the curb and the building.
Yeah.
Is there a better, more beautiful way to place those garbage cans, or would that be in the, looking at the plan for the future? Or do you have to
They wanna
have
get a
garbage
prettier
cans
They
kinda?
want to get prettier cans.
Yep.
We just
prettier
need
cans.
nicer
Wanna get-
cans.
Yeah, they want to get nice cans.
They're just, what, expanded metal now, right?
Yeah.
Mayor, I'm on board with the concept, but I would like to make sure that we get CRA involved in whatever's going back permanently. Since
I
they're
agree, yeah.
pushing the look of that downtown, I don't want to.
Well, they started
Two
this
hands.
conversation too.
Right, yeah.
So this would be for taking the trees out pretty much immediately? As soon as we get?
Yeah,
I think I'm for that.
I'd be fine taking them out.
Do you know if
next week.
HGTV is excited enough that they would contribute at all or help the process move along?
I think they're kind of budgeted out right now, so
Okay,
It's worth a
we can
worth an
ask,
all right. We have any comment from the public on this?
Don, you're a merchant downtown. You want to say anything, or you just want to, are you awake? Let me ask you that.
Don Davies, and I have the 301. I don't have any trees in front of us, so we're okay. But the trash cans on the sidewalks, they're a little problematic, just because you don't have enough space to really walk on the sidewalk. It'd be great to gain some space where you're trying to walk by moving those trash cans where the trees were.
Right, okay.
So I hear a lot of complaints about the trees.
Okay.
You know, nobody said I love them.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
The only thing I think is, I have been to several downtown events.
Give me your name.
What's your name?
Verna Flexen.
Okay.
And in the summertime, it is beastly hot. Something with shade would be really good. Because when there's no shade, I just don't want to be there. Just.
We're not
you know,
touching the middle of the circle at all.
Okay,
All those trees are staying. These are just when you're walking on the sidewalks.
okay, okay.
And most of
In
that
front of
shade
the
is-
parking spaces.
Yeah, most of that shades over the parking spaces anyway, so.
Okay.
Anybody else? Honorable Mr. Griffin.
Ex-employee.
Disgruntled former employee. I don't know how to introduce myself anymore.
You're fired.
Greg Griffin. I'm going to be the tree hugger on this one. And I haven't paid a dramatic amount of, or a great amount of attention to the trees that are on the perimeter of the circle. I'll be sure to look as soon as I'm out of this meeting. But one of the things that sets the downtown corridor, a downtown area, the circle specifically aside, when you come up Ridgewood, it's a barren concrete jungle. As you go down and you leave past Wall Street, past D's going north, it turns back into more concrete. Trees offer a dramatic cooling effect. The more barren concrete you have, the more heat you're going to generate. So I would just be cautious about removing trees. And trees can also be trimmed and managed so that they grow more vertically, as opposed to canopying out. Root systems do become a problem as they grow. So if they're in that 10 to 15 year lifespan, it very well may be a problem. But I would like to see something planted back in place that does provide canopy and shade, and also provide that lush downtown, vegetated feeling, because the concrete jungle, it pains me as I drive through more and more neighborhoods doing inspections, and I see people that are removing a lot of these old growth trees, and they're not planting replacements. One of the biggest things we do, what we should be doing, is as people remove trees, they should be planting replacements, because temperatures are going to get much hotter, and during the summer months, those trees provide vital shade, and a few degrees is critical, especially when it comes to homes. And people don't realize it, but they take trees out, and their houses get extremely hot. So there's a lot of benefit to them as well. So I wouldn't just throw them to the wayside without a good plan as to what you're going to put back in place. So
But as far as removing the current trees,
I haven't looked at them,
Okay.
so I don't have an opinion one way or another. Happy to look at them, and I'll do that as soon as we're done here.
I too am going to drive around and look at them, but I think it sounds like the ones that are in, it sounds to me like they need to come out. And then we make a decision about whether to replant and what kind of tree
whatever
would
the
go in there.
replacement would be.
Yeah.
Okay. We need a motion on this to remove the trees?
Yes, sir, certainly if there's going to be the cost associated with it, if it's hired out.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion that we remove the current trees that have been decided on, that need to go. I make a motion that we do that soon.
Let me ask a question. So we're talking around the circle, how far down the spokes?
I think we just do the circle first.
Let that be the test run.
Wall Street,
Hmm?
inside of Wall Street,
Just Circle Park Drive.
nothing on North Ridgewood?
Blocking a window?
Maybe.
I mean, I didn't look at those really close enough.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't know.
They're the same.
They're the same.
as the ones on the circle.
What do you think?
I mean, that's probably where some of the vendors were complaining about
Yeah.
it too.
Can we have that at the discretion of the business owner or property owner?
It should be uniform. I don't want to pull
Yeah.
one out
Yeah.
from
Start
If we
polling
do it-
people.
it's either
Going down the
whatever.
spokes though, I'm not, Circle Drive, take them out. But how
Because
far
there's some
would that
different
go?
trees on, I know on South Redwood,
There's crepe myrtles down
crepe
south.
myrtles, which are smaller,
Yeah.
that I think those, we can probably keep those there. They're not real pretty in the wintertime,
They aren't, and they're some of my favorite trees.
but they're
they
coming
look-
back now,
Yeah, they look
so-
like sticks all
Yeah,
winter
yeah.
when we have the most people in. So I make a motion that we take out the trees on the circle only, on the not in the circle part, but the exterior sidewalks clear around the circle? Is that what we're thinking?
I think we'd leave it at the discretion of administration to take a look at the trees off the circle to Wall Street.
We won't go any further than Wall Street.
Or, I
We
mean,
won't look any
after
further
Wall
than
Street to
Wall
the
Street.
furthest, right? Because I think everything from there is crepe myrtle, so.
Right. Okay.
All right, second.
Okay. Ms. Haley?
So you're saying Circle Park Drive, but not further than Wall Street? Is that what I'm
Correct.
hearing, or did I not hear that correctly?
No, you
That's
did.
correct.
That's what I heard correctly, okay. Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. All right. City clerk's business.
Councilman, approve the paying of the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, pull the board.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. All right, and then next up, we have the changing of the guard. Every year, the council reorganizes through the election of new officers, the president and president pro tempore. This agenda item has to do with the nomination and election of the council president. You want to explain the procedure?
Council can nominate anyone. We will have a vote on that nomination, and then the one with the most yeses will get selected. Only one vote. Not to say that, because we're confused. Only vote for one person. So, floor is open to nominations.
I nominate Roland Bishop to be the council president.
Any more nominations?
Any other nominations? That's what you asked.
Oh, sorry.
Railroad's coming, so don't
Hey,
worry about
man.
it. so.
I got my training wheels on, all right?
Hearing none, we will close the floor for nominations and have a vote on Mr. Bishop as council president. Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. All right, next up, we have council president pro tempore. Same process as before.
Sir. Open the floor for nominations.
Nominate Josh Stewart.
Any other nominations? No?
Okay. All right, the vote will be to vote for Mr. Stewart for president pro tempore. Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. All right. That does it. Meeting adjourned.